out there? It's 4 o'clock Pacific time, which makes me 6.5 hours late. I'm not only 6.5 hours late, I don't know what to talk about today. I don't have any idea. So, guess what we're going to do? We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. How's that? Anybody even there? Hi, Kimberly. Hello, Romero. Hello, Don. You got my faithfuls. Thank you for being here. I know this thing's kind of chopping off my head. Hello, Steve. Yeah, I'm fine, Amy. I just got behind today, and I forgot to go live. So Kimberly wants to talk about vision casting, how to retain team members, how to get folks going inactive to stay put on the team, when to listen to Mach 2. Oh, went to go listen to Mach 2 and didn't hear you today. Got it. So let's see. Somebody wants to talk about how to retain team members. Am I shaking my camera? So how to retain team members is all about motivation, right? So the reason people go inactive, the reason people quit selling, quit promoting, quit recruiting, quit doing business, it's all about motivation. They lose their motivation. And what motivates people? So what motivates your team members? Well, it's different for each one of them, right? So if you want to take a deeply personal strategy for retaining the activity of your team members, have a conversation with each one of them and ask them, hey, I'm just curious, why did you join to begin with? What were you looking for? What did you want out of this? What did the products do for you? What kind of experience did you have with the products initially? And what were you hoping to gain? What were you hoping to earn? What were you going to do with the money? Find out what motivated them to begin with, and then find out how the story changed. Because if they were motivated to join and buy and become a customer and engage with you and what you're doing, doesn't matter what your model is, if you're selling real estate or mortgages or cars, people were motivated to engage with you and now they're not motivated to engage with you. What is the reason they're no longer motivated? And it's always going to be a story. They're going to tell you a story about what motivated them to join, engage, buy to begin with. And then they're going to tell you a story, if you ask them, what motivated them to disengage. And it's going to be a story. What happened? And they're going to tell you a bedtime story. And so what you want to do is listen to the bedtime story and listen for when they just made up a story that took them out of the game. So, you know, a common thing is, well, I was a customer and I loved the products and I was always a customer. And then I found the products cheaper somewhere else. And so I decided to buy them somewhere else. Okay, notice the nexus point is, and then I found them cheaper somewhere else. So instead of arguing with people, which doesn't do any good, what you want to do is see things from their perspective. So the next question is, well, where did you find them for cheap somewhere else? Let's look. Let's look together. I want to learn and see it from your eyes. I want to see what you found. Or maybe people quit being in your business because too many people said no. Okay, well, tell me who said no. Let's talk about the last 5 people you talked to. What did you say? What did they say? What did you say? What did they say? See it from their point of view. Not to argue with them or make them wrong, but to actually understand them and understand how their story changed. And look for an opportunity to ask people, hey, You created a story which got you in, like, I love these products. I want to be part of this team. I want to be part of this business. I want to earn some money. People create those stories. They just make them up. And then something happens and they make up a story that takes them out. So look for an opportunity to ask them, would you be willing to make up another story? What if the two of us explored a new story altogether? Not the same story you started with, not the same story that took you out, but what if we explored a story that brought you back to getting what you originally wanted? So, maybe people say something like, well, it took too much time. Okay, well, what if we could create a story about you could do it on 30 minutes a day? What if you limited your engagement to 30 minutes a day? And what if it was only Monday through Friday? Or what if it was only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Right? Make up a story. And so, maybe people say, well, I found the products cheaper. Okay, so notice how people make up the story. Well, I found the products cheaper, and what's part of that story is it's the same product. So if it's the same product and it's cheaper, why not buy it somewhere else? But they just make that part up, that it's the same product. They don't know that. They just make it up. So you might ask them, so do you assume the product's the same as what you could buy from my company? Maybe it is. Let's explore. Not to make them wrong, but let's look, right? Because if somebody does have the exact same quality product that you're selling for half the price, don't you want to know about it? I don't know what you're going to do about it, but don't you want to know about it? So, and it doesn't do any good to say, oh, that's no good, they're no good, and that's counterfeit, and that's crappy product, right? But if you look with the person for facts, look for evidence, look for the truth, then maybe you can co-create something together. And they're going to trust you in this process if you do it the way I recommend. If you argue with them and make them wrong, they're not going to trust you. And even if you're right, you win the battle, but you lose the war. So don't do that. Just go on an exploration with them. And, somebody buys cheaper products. You could just ask them a bunch of exploratory questions like, what do you want out of the product? What do you want it to do? Do you want it to do that every time? Do you want it to do that whether you notice doing it or not? Do you want to do it? Do you want it to do that without creating any harm? Do you want every batch of product to be the same as the previous batch? Do you want to be able to trust that the product will always meet that standard? So let's look at where you're buying the product and let's look for evidence that you can trust that. So some of you have heard this analogy. Sometimes when people leave because of a cheaper product, if I have enough conversation with them, I find an opportunity to ask them about helmets. So I just ask them, do you own a helmet of any kind? Skiing, motorcycle, ATV, road bike, any kind of helmet? Most people are going to say yes, right? So what kind of helmet do you own? And just listen for the answer. And what do you want the helmet to do? Protect my head if I fall, right, or get in an accident. So when it comes to buying a helmet, do you want to be able to trust that the helmet's always going to protect you? Or is it okay with you if the helmet maybe starts off being strong and having integrity, but after a couple of years, it just weakens and wears out and it's no good anymore, but you wouldn't know it because it looks the same? Is that an okay helmet for you? What do you want the helmets to do? What kind of integrity do you want the helmet to have? Kind of the essence of the whole conversation is, if you buy a helmet, do you want a cheap helmet? Do you want the half-off helmet made in China? I'm not saying China doesn't make some good products, but I don't know. What kind of helmet do you want? Explore. So anyway, back to motivation. How you keep people engaged is explore with them. Get on their side of the fence. See things from where they see it. Look at the stories they've made up and offer them the opportunity for another story and co-create a new story with them. I'm not suggesting it works every time, but it works about half the time. And arguing with people, making them wrong, telling them what they should do, you should reactivate, you should get busy, you should not quit, that doesn't do any good. That just causes people to push back even harder. Empathize with people. See it from their point of view. Seek to understand their viewpoint before you ask them to understand yours. Sound good? And since it's almost my bedtime, that's all I have for Daily Dose of Salt. If this was of value, share it. And I'll see you tomorrow. I have a light day tomorrow, so stay tuned for 9:30 Pacific tomorrow.